And a good evening as we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium. John Winkler here with you on this Sunday evening as the Pierre Post State team will look for a 2-0 Sunday as they take on Rapid City Post 22. Both teams are looking for to go 2-0 here on this Sunday as Rapid City Post 22, they won 11-4 in their first game over the Renner Post 307 Royals. And of course, Pierre won 3-1 in the first game of the day against Renner as they now look for a sweep of the afternoon and into the evening as we welcome you into the broadcast. These two teams met just 2 days ago as they played a doubleheader out in Rapid City at the Fitz, and it was Post 22 with a 10-2 and a 14-4 win to knock off the Pierre Post State team in that doubleheader. Although when you look at how those two games went, it was a very good hitting performance from Pierre in the terms of they got a lot of guys on base, but they were not able to get those guys in to score. As it was for Pierre, they had 20 hits combined in those two games, but they only scored 6 runs. They didn't get the timely hits that they wanted here in the first game. They didn't necessarily get the timely hits, but they were able to take advantage of errors as there weren't a whole lot of base runners to go around between those two teams. They were able to take advantage of some errors. Only had 1 RBI out of those 3 runs that scored. Matt Lusk actually had an RBI ground out. The other 2 scored on errors that made it that 3-1 game. Here to this afternoon and to this evening as Pierre looks to beat Rapid City for the first time this year. It's about timely hits. They have to get those timely hits because it's what's the name of the game. It's you get those guys on first and second with nobody out. You got to find a way to drive those in. That was was not the case, and what hurt Pierre on Friday trying to beat the Hardhats in either of those two games. The hits were there. The timely hits weren't there. Greg Zabel is going to go here in game number 2. McGuire Rasky, he went 1 inning in that first game and ended up coming out after that first with some elbow discomfort. He hopefully will not be gone too long, and he'll get back into being able to pitch and throw here the rest of the season. But a little bit of concern for McGuire Rasky after going just 1 inning, had a 3-up and 3-down inning with 2 strikeouts, but he left after that first inning. Bennett Dean came in relief and had a very good outing, and Matt Lusk closed the door in that 6th and 7th inning for Pierre Post State. But Greg Zabel will look to continue that dominating pitching performance from game 1 into game 2. And a chance for him to start for the first time in 2020. He threw against Mitchell for just an inning or so, and now here in 2020, and a chance for him to actually get a chance to pitch for Post State, as it was not going to be the case. He would have left yesterday to go to North Dakota State to report for the summer, but instead now he'll be able to play for the majority of the year for Pierre, and that's a big bonus for this Eights team as they take on Rapid City Post 22 here this afternoon. We'll step aside for 3 minutes. We'll come back. We'll run down the lineup for Post State. We're waiting on the lineup coming from Rapid City Post 22, but we can run down that starting lineup here for Pierre. Back in 3 minutes, you're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Hyatt Stadium, as we are getting set for Pierre and Post 22 here for the third game of the day. As for the Post State team, they're looking for win number 3 on the season to get back to 500. They are now 2-3 after picking up the win earlier today. Had those 3 runs scored. 2 of those 3 were unearned in the ball game to pick up that win. Reese Arbogast threw those first 4 innings for Post 307 as he gave up those 2 runs, both unearned, had 3 hits and 7 strikeouts. But then in Austin Henry, his 2 innings of work gave up one of those other 2 runs, or those 3 runs, and Post State was able to win 3-1. McGraw Rasky again went 1 inning, had 2 strikeouts in that 1 inning. Bennett Dean pitched the next 4. Matt Lusk finished the last 2. They got the save in that 3-1 win. All 3 of those pitching performances were stellar for Post State, and that's got to make Coach White, Coach Nas, a lot happier seeing a much tighter game pitching wise, not allowing too many walks, didn't hit anybody, and that is a big difference from where it was on Friday and even all the way back to Sunday when they took on Mitchell. We'll go through the starting lineups. First, we'll go with the Pierre Post State team, as they're the home team in game number 2. For Pierre, Andrew Coverdale will lead things off. He's going to play second base in game number 2. Garrett Stout will play short as he's batting second. Andy Gordon, the first baseman, batting third. River Ivers is in the cleanout spot. He's playing left field. Matt Lusk is out in center field, batting fifth. A.J. Gaten, the third baseman, batting sixth. Jack Van Camp will bat seventh and play right field. It is Bennett Dean. He's going to be the DH here in game number 2. He's batting eighth. And Cade Hinkle, who's back to the number 9 spot, as he is the catcher in game number 2. And for Post State, Gray Zabel is on the mound, looking for his first win of the season. Colton Hartford will lead things off for Rapid City Post 22 as we go through their lineup. Blake Weaver will bat second and play right field. Ryan Bogman is the third baseman, batting third. Dylan Ritchie is the DH as he is the cleanup hitter. Jake Goebel is the first baseman, batting fifth. Peyton Tipton will bat sixth and play second base. Jed Jansen, the center fielder, batting seventh. Hunter Tillery will play left field and bat eighth. And Dalton Klosterman will catch as he will bat ninth. Branson Keel is on the mound here in game number 2 for both Pierre and Rapid City Post 22. Both teams got a win over the defending state champions, and they are both looking to go 2-0 here on this Sunday afternoon. Gorgeous day here at Hyatt Stadium. The third of 3 games here this evening. Coming up on Tuesday, it will be another doubleheader. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it will be a doubleheader. As on Tuesday, it is going to be Rapid City Post 320 coming to town. Wednesday will be Aberdeen. Both those start times for the doubleheader at 5 o'clock. And then on Thursday, it'll be Sioux Falls West, and those will start at 4 o'clock on Thursday. So a little bit earlier start time, and potentially maybe didn't get off work, won't get off work till 5 or so. Chance to listen that first hour before, bring the headphones with you. You can listen the whole game, but if you can't get off work before then to get over to Hyatt Stadium, obviously we'll be on at today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Also have, again, preliminary YouTube channel going on right now, as it is, we got it going on YouTube. Go search for KCCR Sports. And for this game, you can search Rapid City Hardhats with the @ sign at Pierre for this ball game. We will step aside for a couple of minutes, for 2 minutes. We'll come back and we will have starting lineups for you, or we'll have first pitch for you. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. And we welcome you back here to Hyde Stadium as we get set for this ball game between Pierre and Rapid City Post 22. And for the Rapid City Post 22 Hardhats, they will be the visitors here in game number 2 as Post State gets to be the home team for the that first game, and then also for the next had 8 straight games here at home that they will look to try and take advantage of that home cooking and be able to really get that record going. Because when you look at this season, the Post 22 for Post State, every South Dakota team, every team that they play, it matters. It was going to be that way no matter what, but even more so right now because if you are in that top 4, you get to host all the way up to the state tournament. If you to the 4-team state tournament in those 2 round of those regional rounds of best of 3. So if you're in that top 4, you guarantee yourself an opportunity to be the home team in both the quarter or the first region and then the second region as well. So as we go through the lineups here for Rapid City Post 22, as Gray Zabel has taken the mound, and we are getting set for the second game. Colton Hartford will lead things off as he's the shortstop. Blake Weaver is the right fielder as he bats second. Ryan Bachman will bat third, and he will play third base. Dylan Ritchie is the DH here in game number 2 as he will be in the cleanup spot. Jake Goebel, he is going to bat fifth, and he will play first base. Batting 6 is Dalton Tipton. Tipton will be at second base here in game number 2. Jed Jansen is the center fielder as he is going to bat seventh. The left fielder will be Hunter Tillery, and the rounding out the lineup will be Dalton Klosterman as he will be the catcher here in game number 1. Branson Keel is the starting pitcher for Rapid City Post 22 as Gray Zabel finishes his warm-up tosses, and we are just about set for the ball game here. And right at 6:01 right now as we're getting close to first pitch, you're listening to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station. We're set for baseball here on this Sunday evening. Glad you could join us right here on today's KCCR. Colton Hartford will be the leadoff hitter here for Rapid City Post 22. We'll go through the defensive linemen as well as we get into the top of the first. First pitch from Gray Zabel. That one's flown out to right field as the right fielder, Jack Van Camp, will wait underneath it. One pitch and one out to start the ball game right at 6:01. So for Post States around the field, out in left field, it is River Iverson, Matt Luss, the center fielder, and Jack Van Camp is the right fielder as he made that first catch. A.J. Gaden, the third baseman, Garrett Stout at short, Andrew Coverdale at second, and Andy Gordon at first base. Gains that one difference from game 1 to game 2. Here's the first pitch to Blake Weaver. The right fielder is missed low for ball 1. Cade Hinkle behind home plate yet again, and here is Gray Zabel, the big left-hander. After having that first pitch go for an out, the 1-0 pitch to the right fielder, Weaver. That one is upstairs, now 2-0. Just above the letters to the right fielder, Weaver. Again, Post 22, they had 20 hits in those 2 games. It's now 3-0 counts. But for Post 22, they had those 20 hits, but they scored 26 runs. That was the difference. 24 runs. They had 14 and 10 in those 2 games. 3-0 pitch taken all the way is Weaver, and that one will be taken for strike 1. Blake Weaver got the start in game number 1 against the Royals. The 3-1 pitch, there's a ground ball to the left side. Stout will take it on a nice hop. The throw to first is in time, and 2 are quickly gone here in the top of the first inning.
Shortstop Garrett Stout brings up third baseman, number 10, Ryan Bachman.
Here's Ryan Bachman. And Ryan Bachman, that number 3 hitter, he had a strong performance in both games as he had 3 hits and 5 runs driven in those 2 games on Friday. First pitch is a swing and a miss to Gray Zabel, or from Gray Zabel to Bachman. The 0-1 from the left-hander. Swing and a miss is now quickly 0-2. And Zabel's looking for a quick work of Rapid City here in the top half of the first inning. Going to be imperative that he goes a good distance to continue to keep the pitching load light for Post State as they have 6 games Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 0-2 is upstairs. 1-2. Trying to get him to maybe bite on that high fastball, but just a little bit too high to get Bachman thinking about a swing. The 1-2 on its way. That one bounces in. Now 2-2. Here's the third baseman, Bachman. Dylan Ritchie, the DH, he is on deck. First pitch strikes are key in every single game, but for Post State, more of a point of emphasis going into this double or these 2 games that they're playing here this evening. Here's the 2-2. There's a ground ball to the left side again. Another chance for Stout. He'll field that on the run, and the throw to first is in time. And it's a 1-2-3 first inning for Gray Zabel. Post 22 is retired in order. Here in the top of the first inning, Post State coming to bat. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the first inning, it is going to be on the mound Branson Keel for Post 22 as he will deal with Andrew Coverdale to lead things off. It'll be followed by Garrett Stout as he plays short. Andy Gordon, number 3 hitter, playing first base. River Iverson will bat 4th, playing left field. Matt Luss, the center fielder, batting 5th. A.J. Gayden will be the third baseman, batting 6th. Jack Van Camp will play right field, batting 7th. Bennett Dean into the lineup hitting wise as he's a DH, batting 8th. And Cade Hinkle will be the catcher, batting 9th here for Post State. Branson Keel, one guy that we had kind of talked about that we'd probably see him throw at some point here this weekend, whether it was against Pierre in these 3 games or Renner in that one game. And here we are seeing Keel pitch in the final game of the weekend. Post 22, they're going to be off until Thursday when they travel to Omaha for a tournament. And we saw them throw numerous pitchers in the first game. And you got to believe that that's to kind of keep everybody under that 3-day mandatory rest. So that way, when they get to the weekend on Thursday or get to the Thursday in that weekend tournament, that they'll be able to have everybody at their luxury to go as many as they possibly can over the weekend in Omaha. Here's the first pitch to Andrew Coverdale. It is taken for strike 1. Coverdale led off in both games on Friday with a base hit, and he led off here against Renner earlier today with a base hit. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, now 0-2. 4 of the 5 games so far this season, Coverdale has led off with a base hit in the first inning. Keel will peer in for the sign. Klosterman looking to get the sign from the coaching staff over in the third base dugout. Coverdale wisely called time to make everybody reset. And here's the 0-2 pitch yet again. Upstairs, 1-2. So leadoff hitter Andrew Coverdale. Post 22, well, right now the left fielder Tillery is nowhere near the line. If Coverdale can turn on one, he can run for quite a while. Instead, he'll go down the right field line. That one's going to get down for a base hit and past Weaver, and it'll roll all the way to the corner. Coverdale around second. He's on his way to third. The throw will be cut off, and there's no play, and Andrew Coverdale has a leadoff stand-up triple. And Post State is in business early on in the bottom of the first inning. And again, Andrew Coverdale from that leadoff spot. 5 times in 6 games with a base hit to open up the first inning for Post State. And boy, you got to be able to drive him in now on third base with nobody out. This is where these next 3 guys are going to find at least one guy got to find a way to drive him in. First pitch to Garrett Stout is taken for strike 1. Stout in game number 1 went 1 for 3. Flew out to right field and also popped out of the shortstop. The 0-1 misses low and inside, 1-1 to the shortstop. Keel, even though he gave up that leadoff triple, will still work from the windup. And here comes the 1-1 pitch. Instead, Stout will call time, and everybody will reset. And Keel delivers the 1-1. That's high and outside, 2-1. Andy Gordon is on deck. Has been an RBI machine for Post State through the first 5 games of the season. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Garrett Stout. That one will get away from Coverdale. Couldn't quite see it scoot away from Klosterman, so he didn't get the jump, and it's now 3-1. That was that one spot where the catcher doesn't cleanly get it, and it's almost impossible to see that ball scoot away from him from where he's standing on at third base. And if you hesitate, you might as well go back. 3-1 pitch. That one's flown out of play and get on to Capitol Avenue. And bounce across the street. 3-2 now is the count. Sun peeking out here late on this. I shouldn't even say late. Early evening on this. Here's the 3-2 to Garrett Stout. That one's ripped down the first base line and fair for a base hit. That one will get into the corner as well. Stout almost trips around first, but is into the corner. He's going to round second and try for a third. Coverdale will switch spots. It's a RBI triple for Garrett Stout, and Post State has a 1-0 lead. 2 batters in. So back-to-back triples here for Post State. And that'll bring in Andy Gordon. And again, that's a big first at-bat with a runner in scoring position. They drive in the runner with that first at-bat. First pitch to Gordon's upstairs for ball 1. It's a good start here against this post-22 team. Got that 0 in the first inning like you wanted. As Gordon will foul that one. He was well behind it and fouled into the first base dugout just past River Iverson. Gordon did go 0 for 3 in game number 1. He struck out swinging in the first and third and ended up grounding out to the third baseman. One of the only time he's been 0 for so far this season. Here's the 1-1 to the first baseman. That one's on the outside corner, 1-2. Gordon's a good guy to be in that number 3 spot. Doesn't get fooled too many times. 1-2 pitch. That one's grounded up the middle. That's going to get Stout to score. The throw from the shortstop, Hartford's in time. And there's one down, but it's an RBI ground out for Andy Gordon. And it's now a 2-0 Post State lead. And here comes River Iverson, the left fielder. And Coach White, you got to be pleased with how those first 3 at-bats have been. 2 triples and then a good at-bat by Gordon, 2-strike approach. And put it up the middle for Stout to easily score. As the first pitch misses high for ball 1. As Coach White said in the pregame interview back before game number 1, it's all about doing your job. The first 3 guys have done their job. 1-0 pitch at the letters, 1-1 here to the left fielder, River Iverson. He's moved up the lineup from 6th to 4th here for this ball game against the Hardhats. Here's the 1-1. That one's chopped back up the middle. Another play for Hartford. He'll feel it right in front of the bag at second. The throw to first is in time. And there's now 2 down, which will bring Matt Lusk up. He got the save in game number 1. Lusk dealing with a little bit of some arm trouble as well, trying to get his arm right, and he looked like it was right in that first game. Had no problems against that runner team to finish out the save in the 3-1 win. First pitch to Lusk, swing and a miss. in game number 1. Lusk went 0 for 3. He reached on an error, and he also had the RBI ground out. The only RBI of the game for Post State, which made it a 3-1 lead as the 0-1 pitch is in the dirt 1-1. Those errors in the first and fourth inning by Renner allowed Coverdale and Zabel both to score. Those guys led off the innings with base hits. That one's fouled back and out of play, and it's now 1-2. Here to Matt Lusk.
Are worth $1. Please don't call balls at touch stand for $1.
From left to right in the outfield, Tillery, Jensen, and Weaver. Bachman, Hartford, Tipton, and Goebel around the infield from left to right. Klosterman's the catcher. And Branson Keel will deliver the 1-2 pitch. That one's popped up on the right side. Going into foul territory is the first baseman, Goebel. Still going over for it, and he misses the ball. Right near the hill right there at the edge of the playing area, and I don't know if he decided if he thought maybe he ran out of room or was running out of room, but he had plenty of more to go and did not make the catch. So it gives Matt Lusk another chance. Here's the 1-2. Upstairs now 2-2. Good job there by Lusk on that high fastball to lay off. It always looks good. That fastball is coming about eye level. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss out of the catcher's glove, and Klosterman. The throw down to first is in time, and that will retire the side. For the first two guys, they got 2 triples. Coverdale led it off. Stout with an RBI triple. Gordon brought him in with an RBI ground out. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, no one left on base. 1 completes. Post State has a 2-0 lead over the Hardhats. Back in a minute. You listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. It is 4, 5, and 6 here for Post 22 Hardhats. Dylan Ritchie, Jake Goebel, Dalton Tipton. As it will be for the Hardhats, a chance for their first base runners as they trail 2-0 here in the top of the second inning. Gray Zabel had no problems in that. I should say not Dalton Tipton, it's Peyton Tipton. But Gray Zabel had a 1-2-3 first inning with 2 groundouts to the shortstop Stout and a fly out to open up the ball game. Again, if you have been waiting for baseball and want that baseball fix, we got it for you here this coming week. Middle of your week's taking care of what you're going to do. You're going to listen to some baseball right here on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 doubleheaders. Rapid City Post 320. Aberdeen and Sioux Falls West. As the first pitch misses upstairs to Dylan Ritchie. 1-0. At the letters, strike 1 to the designated hitter, Ritchie. He had scored a couple runs in game number 2. As that one will be grounded to the second baseman, Coverdale. Nice sliding stop. The throw to first is in time, and the leadoff man is retired. Here to open up the top of the second inning. Jake Goebel will step to the plate, the first baseman.
Brings up first baseman, Jake Goebel.
Coverdale's had plenty of plays to his left already here this season, and he's made a couple of very nice plays. There's the first pitch to Goebel, outside for ball 1. These two teams as the 1-0 is upstairs now 2-0. These two teams were not scheduled on to be playing in the regular season. Whether they would meet in a tournament or not would be different, but these two teams were not going to meet and not on the schedule. As the 2-0, that one's flown out of play and it's now 2-1. But since the coronavirus and everybody had to kind of rearrange their schedule, I don't know if anybody was able to keep their same schedule. We weren't playing a whole lot of baseball games. The 2-1 pitch, that one's fouled back to the netting, and it's now 2-2. But everybody had to kind of rearrange how they're going to play, and it wasn't necessarily let's play the same teams that we were going to play earlier. And it now turns into Rapid City Post 22 facing Pierre 3 times in Pierre's first 6 games. The 2-2 misses upstairs, and the count is now full 3-2. And the windup and the payoff pitch. That one's grounded down the third base line. That goes off the foot of Gaden, and it gets into left field. Stout will race all the way for it. Goebel's rounding first. He's on his way to second. The throw is just going to be late. And Goebel is on at second with one down. First base runner of the game for Post 22. As we wait to see what the official scoring will be for Jake Goebel. So the official scoring will be an error on A.J. Gaden, and it will allow Goebel to be at second base. And here is Peyton Tipton, the second baseman here in this ball game. First pitch from Zabel, first chance to work from the stretch. That one's popped up on the right side, and it's going to get out of play. And a first pitch strike again from the left-hander, Gray Zabel. Peyton Tipton went 2 for 4 in his in game number 2. Drove in a run, also scored twice in that 14-4 win. 1 pitch. That one's popped up on the right side. Coming in is Jack Van Camp into foul territory. He's running out of room. Did he make the catch? I believe he did, and there's now 2 down. That's a great catch by Jack Van Camp, racing all the way over near the fence. And that fence is not forgiving over there, and he's able to find that fence and still able to make the catch and made sure that Goebel stayed at second base. So here's Jet Jansen. Zabel from the stretch. Here is the first to the center fielder, Jensen. That's taken for strike 1. Jensen, he went 1 for 2 on Friday. Got walked twice, came around to score 3 times. The only time he was retired was on a strikeout looking. That one's grounded down the first base line, well behind it, and is fouled. It's now 0-2, and Zabel looking to work out of an error and leave Post 22 scoreless here in the top of the second. Jensen's number 7 hitter in the lineup. The 1-2 pitch is upstairs, or excuse me, the 0-2 pitch is upstairs, and it's now 1-2. I make that comment just because from the last 2 games, Post 22 was near in their second time around after in the second inning. In game 1 and game 2, but here into the second inning, as that's a swing and a miss, and down on strikes goes Jensen. Only 7 guys have come to the plate in the first 2 innings. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 man left on base. We have played an inning and a half. Post 22 is scoreless. Post 8 with a 2-0 lead. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the second inning. It is going to be A.J. Gaden, Jack Van Camp, Bennett Dean, the first three hitters here for Post State as they lead 2-0. I want to say thanks to Coach Sean Lewis for joining in the broadcast in game number 1. A lot of fun to talk with him. Football, wrestling, baseball, all the sorts in that first game. First pitch to Gaden goes right underneath the mid of Klosterman to the backstop. And it's 1-0 to the leadoff hitter, third baseman A.J. Gaden. Keel into his second inning of work, the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's now 1-1. Might have got a piece of it, was Gaden. And Jack Van Camp get a little bit of cardio. And to retrieve 2 different baseballs already. The 1-1. There's a ground ball to the left side. The third baseman Bachman will scoop in the shortstop position and make the throw to retire Gaden on the lead off the bottom of the second. And Jack Van Camp now will step to the plate.
Third baseman Bachman brings up right fielder
Van Camp in those 2 games against Post 22 as the first pitch is upstairs. He went 0 for 3 in game number 1, was the pitcher in game number 2. Went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts as the first pitch is missed for ball 1. A swing and a miss, and it's now an even count at 1. To the right fielder, Van Camp made a great play in that top of the second inning. Near the fence over in foul territory. 1-1 pitch. That one's fouled off the foot of Van Camp. And it's now 1-2. On deck is the DH, Bennett Dean, as he will get his first chance to hit here in this 2020 season. Here's the 1-2. That one's fouled at the plate. Trying to go off the foot of Klosterman as he popped up. Might have got him right off the knee. Got the shin guards up on the knees, but it still doesn't feel too good. Klosterman will get the sign from the coaching staff over in the third base dugout and relay it to his pitcher, Keel, and he'll deliver the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Van Camp goes down on strikes. And there's 2 quickly down here in the bottom of the second inning. And here is Bennett Dean. Dean was did a real good job in game 1, bridging the gap between McGuire Rasky and Matt Lusk. As he'll fly the first pitch out towards left field, coming in on it. Going out is the shortstop, Hartford, and he will make the catch for the third out. A 1-2-3 inning for Keel. We have played 2 complete. Post State, they lead 2-0 over the Hardhats. After 2, you're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. And it's a 0-1 count to Hunter Tillery as the 0-1 is inside, and it's now 1-1 to the left fielder. 8-9-1 here in the top of the third inning. Tillery, Klosterman, and Hartford. 1-1 is outside, and now 2-1. Tillery threw in game number 1. Got the win in game number 1 over Post State on Friday. Did not hit in game number 2. And here's the 2-1 coming from the big left-hander. Instead, time is called by the left-handed hitting Hunter Tillery. Catcher Klosterman waits on deck. Zabel delivers the 2-1 pitch. Outside now 3-1. Only one base runner so far through the first 7 guys for Post 22 reached on an error. On the third baseman, Gaden. But he was left stranded was Jake Goebel at second base. Gray gets the sign. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Upstairs, and it's a leadoff walk. That'll bring in Dalton Klosterman. 2-0 to their score here in the top of the third inning. 2 hits, both hits for Post State came around to score. As Coverdale and Stout hit back-to-back triples. Stout obviously chasing Coverdale home, and Gordon on the RBI ground out. Made it 2-0. First pitch is taken for a strike 1 to Dalton Klosterman. Klosterman in game 1 went 1 for 2 against Post State. Came around to score twice in that first game. Here's the 0-1 pitch instead of check over, and back in safely is Tillery. 5 o'clock start on Tuesday and Wednesday this coming week. And then it will be a 4 o'clock start on Thursday. 0-1 pitch. That one's back up the middle. Coverdale will wait for it. Second for 1. Back to first in time for a 4-6-3 double play. And a good turn from both Coverdale and Stout. And those 2 guys at short and second have been very good up the middle for Post State for the last couple of years. And there's now 2 down, and Colton Hartford, the leadoff hitter in the lineup, will step to the plate as he flew out to the right fielder Jack Van Camp to lead off the ball game. First pitch to Hartford. He'll swing at that one as well, but that one will be fouled away. And it's 0-1. Zabel has stayed efficient through the first 2 2/3 innings. 0-1's upstairs, now 1-1. Going to keep that same thing moving along for Zabel. But a big left-hander that's one of the best pitchers in the state of South Dakota getting a chance to pitch here in the 2020 summer season. There's a line shot that'll be fouled. That will get out of play and we get out of the stadium. And it's now 1-2. For Post State in the bottom of the third inning, it'll be 9-1 Hinkle, Coverdale, and Stout. We're going to add to that potential 2-0 lead. There comes the 1-2 pitch. Just a bit high as it goes over the head and glove of Hinkle, nowhere close to the zone, and it's now 2-2. As check the radar. Potential, maybe a shower coming through the Pierre area. Nothing that shouldn't cause any type of delay, but one that could affect the fans here in the stands. As there's another ground ball to Coverdale at second. He'll field the throw to first is in time, and that will retire the side here in the top of the third inning. Zabel walks the leadoff hitter, but it's retired in a double play. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. 2.5 is complete. Post State has a 2-0 lead over the Hardhats. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the third inning, it is a 2-0 lead here for the Eights, as it's 9-1-2. Cade Hinkle, Andrew Coverdale, and Garrett Stout. If anybody gets on base, it'll be Andy Gordon. Hinkle in game number 1, he hit in the number 5 spot, went 1 for 3. The base hit, he came around to score that third run in the bottom of the 6th inning. First pitch is fouled out of play. And it's quickly 0-1 to the catcher. The new hairdo. Shaved off a lot of that hair, bleached it as well. And hopefully it'll lead to some hits. The 0-1 pitch is missed low, and it's now 1-1. Hinkle had himself a pretty good summer last year with a lot of extra base hits, especially here at Hyde Stadium. Loved to hit that gap out in right center as he tries to go down the line, and that's going to be fouled, and it's now 1-2. Got to be strong physically and mentally to be a catcher, and especially to catch every single inning but one last year. And he shows that more times than not. The 1-2 pitch is outside 2-2. He was part of a double play that got turned after the throw in that first game went glove of Gordon, but the backup there, and man was rounding first and had to go back to first base, and he was unable to get back in time after Hinkle threw it back to Gordon to retire him for a double play. Hinkle will swing and miss, and that's the first out. The leadoff man is retired here in the bottom of the third. That'll bring in Andrew Coverdale. Coverdale again led off the first inning, the bottom of the first, with a triple, stand-up triple. He'll ground the first pitch to the left side. Hartford will take it on a nice hop. The throw to first is low, but a good scoop over there at first by Goebel. And there's 2 quickly gone here in the bottom of the third. And it'll bring in Garrett Stout, who also tripled in that bottom of the first inning. He drove in Coverdale. You look down the line, 324 in the right and left field corner. First pitch to Stout is taken for strike one. 378 in right center and 383 in left center. But you get that corner over in right field, and it's hard to pick the ball out of there because it can take a couple of different hops, and that wood fencing can sometimes make that ball bounce a little bit different than what you might think it will. Stout swings, and it's 0-2. Here to the number 2 hitter, the shortstop here in game number 2. He skies that one up and out of play on the left side. That's going to get out into Capitol Avenue, hit right in the middle of the street. And it's now stays at 0-2. Here's the 0-2 from Keel. Stout flies that out toward right field. Going back on its Weaver, he'll glide underneath it, wait and make the catch, and retire the side here in the bottom of the third. 1-2-3 inning for Keel in that third. We've played 3 complete innings. Post 8 has a 2-0 lead over the Hardhats. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball. Today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. It is the top of the 4th inning. Gray's able to work for 2, 3, and 4 as the skies are not necessarily closing up on us, but a little bit darker clouds are coming to the picture, at least we can see coming out of the press box. As we kind of watch the radar just a little bit, but right now, as long as we don't see any lightning in the area, we're going to keep this thing moving. that rain shower that's on the radar doesn't look like it's going to do enough to cause anybody to abandon the field. The 1-0 pitch from Zabel to the number 2 hitter, Blake Weaver. Is on its way. Just a bit high, maybe a little outside now, 2-0. Weaver grounded out of the shortstop Stout back in the top of the first. Ryan Bachman, Dylan Ritchie, the next 2 hitters. 2-0 pitch, upstairs, now 3-0. And Zabel again struggling just a little bit from the windup. Didn't have to worry. Didn't struggle in that first inning, but the top of the second struggled just a little bit in that first hitter. 3-0 is inside a 4-pitch walk, and it's another leadoff walk here to the Hardhats, and that'll bring in Ryan Bachman. And again, kind of talk about Zabel. Very good, very effective pitcher, but it seems like he gets out of a rhythm sometimes going from the windup. He'll like to quickly go from the stretch, even with nobody on, to try and find his release point. He did that in the Dakota Classic last year. It's actually where he should be this year, as the first pitch to Bachman's just a bit outside, 1-0. Bachman grounded out to the shortstop Stout as well in the top of the first. If everything was normal into this season, we'd be probably done, or if championship game of the Dakota Classic right now. It's now 2-0 to the number 3 hitter, Ryan Bachman. This was the weekend to be out in Sioux Falls, but things change, and we're playing here at Triangular, and we're in the 3rd game of that Triangular. It's a lot less travel for Pierre on this Sunday than it usually is. Instead, they're going to have, Sioux Falls end up having a Dakota Classic this weekend. They just had different teams, a few less teams, and obviously Pierre, Post 22, Renner were not a part of it. But in the month of July, I believe the 10th through the 12th, it will be going to Sioux Falls for the new Dakota Classic. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Upstairs now 3-0. Post State will also play in the Veterans Classic, which should have been last weekend for out in Rapid City. Now will be later the weekend after the Dakota Classic in July. The 3-0 pitch. Zabel will get his first strike of the inning, as Bachman thought maybe he had a 4-pitch walk. And it's now 3-1 to the number 3 hitter, the third baseman, Ryan Bachman. Zabel will come set. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That one is also looked at and is now strike 2, and it's a full count here to Bachman. The only thing that didn't change on the schedule, well, I guess there's a couple of different things that didn't change, but the only tournament that didn't change was the Minot tournament. That will be taking place the 26th or the 28th here of this month. Here's a payoff pitch to Bachman. That one's fouled back, and we'll do it again at 3-2. Post State was actually supposed to play Bismarck the day before on that Thursday in Bismarck, and then travel the rest of the way to Minot on Friday, but instead, now it's just a straight shot up to Minot. As Bachman will call time. And everybody will get reset. Aberdeen is in town on Tuesday. Rapid City Post 320 is in town on Tuesday. Aberdeen's in town on Wednesday. And Sioux Falls West on Thursday. 3-2 pitches upstairs. And Bachman will draw the second walk of the inning. And it's first and second now with nobody out. And that'll bring in Dylan Ritchie, the designated hitter. Ritchie grounded out to Coverdale to start the top of the second inning. Still no hits in the ball game for Post 22, although they've had now 4 base runners. 3 walks and an error have given Post 22 their 4 base runners so far. Ritchie will drop down a bunt. It'll be played by Gaden. The only plays at first. A throw is going to take Gordon off the bag, and the bases are now loaded with nobody out. And we'll see what the scoring is to that one on Gaden. Bases are now loaded with nobody out. And they are going to give Ritchie a base hit. And it will be the first hit of the ball game for post 22. Bases loaded, nobody out. Here's Jake Goebel. Tying run at second base. First pitch to Goebel. That one's popped up and fouled out of play. It's now 0-1. First signs of trouble here from Zabel in this ball game. Those 2 walks have been the reason why he's in this spot right now. And a good bunt from Dylan Ritchie makes the bases loaded. Although the force out's there at home, so a ground ball back to Zabel. Maybe start a 1-2-3 double play. Good block by Hinkle and the pitch in the dirt, and it's 1-1. Goebel reached on an air. It went hard to the third baseman, Gaden, but it went off of his foot and into left field, and he was able to reach second on it. Peyton Tipton is on deck. Zabel is going to work from the stretch. Here is the 1-1 pitch. That one's a fly ball. Should be deep enough to at least get the first run home. Van Camp, we'll see where he goes with it. He'll make the catch. There's one down, and the throw will come and go off the glove of Gordon. And then it will be the runner from second getting over to third, and Bachman. So the sac fly will work for post 22. Double play still in order with one down, but is now runners at the corners. And Van Camp just overshot his cutoff man and Andy Gordon. Bachman had already committed to go to third and kind of put himself in no man's land if Gordon caught that cleanly. But he was able to easily scamper to third base after it went off the top of his glove. First pitch is in the dirt. Hinkle will have to grab it, but it's going to get far enough away for Ritchie to get to second, and so now there is no double play, and we'll see now if the infield comes in all the way around. And Coach White will make his way out and talk with Zabel and the rest of the infield. 2-1 is our score. Second and third with one down here in the top of the fourth inning. This ball game just 45 minutes old so far. It is Peyton Tipton who flew out to right field. He is up to the plate. He'll be followed by Jed Jansen. Check the radar here one more time as we have a chance. The rain might be hitting through Pierre here in just a little bit. Maybe see some sprinkles in just a little bit here at Hardhats Stadium. A slight chance of some severe weather in the area. Ryan Kruger, the assistant baseball coach for the Pierre High School baseball team. Junior Legion now 5-2 on the season. Placed third in the Jim School tournament. First pitch is 1-0 pitch is upstairs. Now 2-0 to Peyton Tipton. They went 4-1 in the tournament, as they were one of 3 teams with a 3-1 pool play record. But the tiebreaker put them at the 3 seed. 2-0 pitch misses. Skips away from Hinkle, but nobody moves, and it's now 3-0. As he says at the end of the text, good weekend for the Junior Legion. Absolutely a good weekend for the Junior Legion. Good to see those younger guys continue to have success. What you love to see about a program continue to build. 3-0 pitch from Zabel right down the middle as Tipton was taken all the way, and it's now 3-1. Second and third with one down. Here comes the 3-1 pitch. Fly ball out to left field. Coming in on his Iverson. He's going to dive. He can't make the catch. It's going to get down. It's going to tie the ball game up. It's an RBI single. The runner at second, and Ritchie did not. He went back to the bag, so he did not get to third. And a good effort by Iverson, but just couldn't make the catch, and it's now a 2-2 ball game with one down here in the top of the fourth. So the double play is still in order. Forced out at any base. Here is Jed Jansen, the center fielder. He struck out swinging in his first at bat. He'll try and lay down a bunt, pulls it back for ball one. And the rain has started here at Hardhats Stadium. Shouldn't last too long. Shouldn't be too heavy of a rain. and hopefully won't get too much on the equipment here. Here is the 1-0 pitch. Again, pulling back the bunt was Jensen. It's now 2-0. Jensen struck out swinging his first at bat. Here's now the 2-0 pitch. That one's taken for strike one, now 2-1. Just a brief shower that should pass through. Lights are still have not turned on yet here at Hyde Stadium. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one's chopped at the plate. Zabel will field. The only play is going to be to first, and that will be made by Zabel over to the first baseman, Gordon. So both runners advanced 90 feet. And there's now 2 down here in the top of the fourth, and Hunter Tillery with a base hit could put post 22 up by 2 as it's tied at 2. Both walks from Zabel come back to haunt him here in this top of the fourth inning. First pitch to Hunter Tillery is looked at for strike one. Tillery walked in the top of the third inning to lead things off, but was retired as part of the double play from Dalton Klosterman. Zabel will work from the windup. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Half swing, goes all the way around, and is now 0-2. And Zabel a strike away from trying to wiggle his way out of this one that could have been potentially a lot worse than what it is right now. 0-2 is the count. Zabel will get the sign from his catcher, Hinkle, but at first it will be time called by Tillery, and we'll reset. Tillery, the 7th man to come to the plate here in the top of the fourth inning. And here is the 0-2 from Zabel. Right down the middle, and Tillery looks at it for strike 3, and that will retire the side here in the top of the fourth. 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 3.5. We are tied up at 2. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post-8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. It is the bottom of the fourth inning. It is 3, 4, and 5 due up for the Eights, as it's now a new ball game, as it's 2-2. Andy Gordon, followed by River Iverson and Matt Lusk to lead things off. First pitch is fouled back, and it's 0-1 to Gordon, who is 0 for 1 with an RBI ground out. He made it a 2-0 lead for the Eights in that bottom of the first. 0-1 pitch. That one misses low, now 1-1. Gordon Iverson, Matt Lusk, the first 3 hitters here in the bottom of the fourth. A.J. Gaden will be the 4th man if anybody gets aboard. There's a 1-2-3 inning in that bottom of the third for Keel, who works into his 4th inning. 1-1. There's a ground ball to the left side. Good tough hop for Bachman. Good play from Bachman. The throw and the good stretch from Goebel to retire Gordon to lead off the bottom of the fourth. And here's River Iverson, who is 0 for 1. Grounded out to the shortstop in his lone at-bat so far. Keel will work from the windup. Here's the first pitch to the left fielder. That one's fouled back and out of play. Keel settled in after giving up those 2 hits, those 2 triples to lead off the bottom of the first, as Iverson will foul that off his torso, and it's now 0-2. Gave up those first 2 hits, 2 triples, and since then he has not allowed a hit. He's not allowed a base runner since those first 2 got on base. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Upstairs, 1-2. He's retired now 10 in a row. Iverson looking to break that here as Matt Lusk is on deck. Keel, the 1-2. There's a line drive, and Iverson will break that 10 in a row streak as he gets a base hit in the left field. And that'll bring in Matt Lusk, who is 0 for 1, struck out swinging in his first at-bat. Here with 1 down to the bottom of the 4th. 3rd hit of the ball game for Post State. Much different to the first 3.5 innings. We've had 4 combined hits between the 2 teams. First pitch to Lusk is outside for ball 1. Lusk out in center here in game number 2 for Post State. Iverson will lead away from first. Keel will come set. And here's the 1-0. Lusk flies that one out to right field, coming over as Weaver to the right field foul line. He'll make the catch, and there's now 2 down. Action in the right field bullpen. Looks like maybe Stout throwing just a little bit. AJ Gayden will step to the plate. Ground out to the 3rd baseman in his first at-bat. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. 2-2 is our score. First pitch from Keel is at the knees for strike 1. Shading Gayden in left field to more left center is Tillery. Jensen's on the right side of second base. That one's fouled back to the netting, and it's now 0-2. 2-3-0 for Post State. 2-1-1 for Post 22. Keel will get the sign. He'll come set, and here comes the 0-2 pitch. That one is looked at and taken for strike 3, and that will retire the side here in the 4th inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base. We have played 4 complete. We are now tied at 2. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR, and today's KCCR.com. Here for the top of the 5th inning, Gray Zabel on for his 5th inning of work, as it will be Dalton Klosterman, Colton Hartford, and Blake Weaver, the first 3 hitters, 9, 1, and 2 in the order for the Hardhats. Join us again on Tuesday, 4:40 for the pregame show, 5 o'clock for first pitch. Rapid City Post 320 Stars will be in town. Then on Wednesday, Aberdeen will be in town with a 5 o'clock start. And then on Thursday, it'll be a 4 o'clock start. as Sioux Falls West will be that man, or will be that team to come to Pierre. Then the following Sunday we'll be out to Aberdeen to face the Smitties on the road. First pitch, Glassman showing bunt, pulls it back, and it's taken high for ball one. Gray Zabel from the windup. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one's skied out to right field. Jack Van Camp will glide to his left near the right field foul line, and he'll make the catch. And the leadoff man is retired here in the top of the fifth inning. Colton Hartford back to the plate. He's 0 for 2 with a fly out to right field and a ground ball victim to the second baseman, Coverdale, and his 2 at-bats. I want to remind you that you're listening to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station, as we are at the 7 o'clock hour here on this Sunday evening. Ground ball to the left side. Stout will field in the backhand. The throw to first is in time, and 1 pitch, and there's now 2 on here in the bottom of the top of the fifth inning. And that will give to Blake Weaver, who is 0 for 1. He ground out to the shortstop, Stout, and also walked and came around to score in that top of the fourth. Part of those 2 runs that scored that tie the ball game up at 2-2. Coach Torvey is talking to his right fielder Weaver before he comes to the plate. The big left-hander Zabel will deliver the first pitch to Weaver. This is inside for ball 1. Ryan Bachman is on deck. He also drew a walk. Those 2 guys, Weaver and Bachman, led off the fourth with walks and came around to score to tie the game at 2. Count is 2-0, and here is the 2-0 pitch. That one's popped up, fouled out of play, and it's now 2-1.
$1 to concession stand.
Just 4 hits combined here between the 2 teams. 3 for Post State, 1 for the Hardhats. Here is the 2-1 pitch. Just a bit outside, and it's now 3-1. And with Bachman on deck, you'd rather see him lead off the top of the 6th than come to bat here with a runner on base in the top of the 5th. Here's the 3-1. That one will miss upstairs, and it's now a 2-out walk. Will allow Ryan Bachman to come to the plate. Fourth walk issued of the ball game by Gray Zabel. And again, the walks will drive any coach nuts, but for Post State, for Coach White, Coach Nas, the walks have been the problem so far for Post State. First pitch to Bachman. That's taken for strike 1. Bachman's at 0 for 1. He grounded out to the shortstop Stout in the first inning. Walked in the 4th and came around to score. We sit at 2-2 here in the top of the 5th inning. Zabel from the stretch, the 0-1. Just a bit outside and looked nearly the same spot. Maybe just a little bit higher, maybe a little bit more outside. And it's now 1-1. Zabel, another pickoff attempt. And back in standing up is Weaver. Zabel again will come set. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Instead, another check over, and they got him picked off. The throw to second is going to be in time, and that will retire the side. A good job by Zabel to pick off the runner Weaver at first. They're going to second, and that will end things here in the top of the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We have played 4.5. We have a 2-2 score between the Hardhats and Pierre. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. It is the bottom of the fifth inning as Post State and the Hardhats are tied up at 2. It will be 7, 8, 9. Jack Van Camp, Bennett Dean, and Cade Hinkle. If anybody gets on board, Andrew Coverdale will come back to the plates. First pitch from Keel to Van Camp. There's a fly ball out towards left field. That will hang up in the air for the left fielder, Tillery, to make the catch, and there's one pitch and one out. Here to open up the bottom of the fifth inning. Here's Benedini, flew out, popped out of the shortstop in his first at-bat back in the bottom of the second inning. Kane Hinkle is on deck as Keel will deliver the first pitch to Dean. Right down the middle for strike one. Keel has settled in after back-to-back triples in the bottom of the first. He's allowed just one base hit and one base runner since then, which was that base hit to Iverson. The 0-1 is Mitt Sloan, is now 1-1. He's retired 13 of the last 14 guys he's faced. 1-1, swing and a miss, now 1-2. Here's the 1-2 from Keel. At the letters, looked at strike three, and Dean goes down on strikes. And there's now 2 away quickly here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Post State's looking for their first win against the Hardhats in the last 2 seasons. Went 0-4 against them last year. First pitch is outside for ball one. Hinkle's 0-for-1, struck out swinging back at the bottom of the third. The 1-0 is right there, and it's now 1-1. A little bit of a rain shower that went through here at Hyde Stadium, and a couple minutes of that 1-1 pitch is looked at as now 1-2, but should be all clear to finish out the rest of the game. As that next, there a little bit of rain shower just north of Murdo. The 1-2 is upstairs now, 2-2. Again, nothing that's any kind of concern to put this game on pause if it gets here. 2-2 pitch in the dirt, now 3-2. 3 hits for Pierre, 1 so far for Post 22. 1 error for Hardhats as well, but the score is tied at 2-2. As we play here with 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. The payoff pitch to Hinkle. Foul out of play. And that one will just skip past the Rapid City bus and a couple other cars. As we'll do it again at 3-2. Here's a 3-2 again. Misses low, and Hinkle draws a 2-out walk. First walk issued of the ball game. First walk issued, but in the 3 games now that we've played against Post 22, they did not allow a walk all evening on Friday. Renner didn't allow a walk in that first game either. It's been some good pitching that Post State has seen. Coverdale swings and misses at the first pitch. And it's 0-1. Coverdale is 1 for 2, tripled and scored in the first and grounded out of the shortstop in the third. Another triple would put Post State back up on top, or at least an extra base hit. Pickoff attempt, and Hinkle will dive back in safely. Sun back out here at Hyde Stadium. Here's the 0-1 pitch. There's a ground ball to the left side. Diving play by Bachman, and it goes past him in the left field for a base hit. And Coverdale is now 2 for 3. And a runner in scoring position for Garrett Stout, who's looking for his second hit as well. And it was also 1 for 2 with a triple. Drove in Coverdale with that RBI triple back in the first inning. He flew out to right field in the third. And a base hit with the speed of Hinkle should make it a 3-2 ball game, if Stout can find a way to put it in the outfield. Keel will peer in for the sign. Stout will call time, and gamesmanship between batter and hitter. Fourth of the ball game for Post State. Here's the first pitch to Stout. He'll line that one in left field. Hinkle went back to third, went back to second base, and he's going to stop at third. And there's the one time that he's not going to score. And even if he took off right away, it would have been a close play at the plate, but the bases are now loaded for Andy Gordon. You know, freeze on a line drive, which was what Hinkle did, but with 2 outs, no need to freeze. Gordon grounds that one down the third base line, through, past Bachman, 1 run will score. Coverdale's going to come around to score. And Andy Gordon comes through with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th and has put Post State back up by 2, 4-2. And they will give Gordon the RBI single, the 2 RBI single. And it's a 4-2 lead for Post State here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Right past the diving Bachman at third and into left field. And there's now River Iverson trying to keep things moving. 3 straight hits, 3 straight singles for Post State. So the team that had 3 hits through the first 4 innings, that one's going to get to the backstop. Stout will get to third. Gordon will get to second. And now another base hit could make it a 6-2 lead here for Post State. Pierre had 3 hits in the first 4 innings. They've got 3 hits in their last 3 at-bats. As Klosterman will make a quick mound visit to talk with Keel. Thomas McGuire will go out to the bullpen. He will look to warm up with Jed Sullivan. That looks like he's going to be the one that's going to go out and warm up for Post 22. Actually, it's going to be somebody else. Iverson will back away from a pitch in on the hands, and it's now 2-1. Instead, I believe maybe it's maybe Dylan Ritchie that's going to go out and warm up. 2-1 is inside now, 3-1. There is an open base at first, but Matt Lusk is standing on deck. Here's the 3-1 pitch. That one misses, and Iverson draws a 2-out walk, and now the bases are loaded. And here comes Matt Lusk to the plate. See with a mound visit if he will get the hook or not. Although that man out in the bullpen trying to see who it actually is. Might be Isaac Arnold that's out there, but he threw in game 1, so I think it'd be Dylan Ritchie, as he is the only guy in the 20s that is not out in the field or the backup catcher that's catching that bullpen right now. That didn't pitch in game 1. So by process of elimination, it's got to be the designated hitter Dylan Ritchie out there in the left field bullpen. So here's Matt Lusk, 0 for 2 so far. A strikeout and a fly out to right field. A base hit could make it at least a 6-2 ball game. First pitch is at the knees for strike 1. Lusk looking for that big RBI single, RBI hit. A lot of room down the left field line. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, and it's now 0-2. And Lusk will have to battle down in the count. Stout is on at third, Gordon at second, Iverson at first. Keel gets the sign, and here comes the 0-2 pitch. There's a ground ball to third baseman Bachman. Oh, tough hop, and he's able to make the play. The throw to first is in time, and that one almost got through Bachman to allow another 2 runs to score. But Post State does take the lead. 2 runs on 3 hits in the inning. No errors and 3 men left on base. We have played 5 complete innings, and Pierre is back on top of the Hardhats, 4-2. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Ryan Bachman will lead things off here in the top of the sixth inning as Gray Zabel will work into that sixth inning. 3, 4, and 5 due up here for Rapid City Post 22, Dylan Ritchie, and then Jake Goebel with the next two hitters. First pitch to Bachman is taken for strike one. That was at the plate when Weaver was picked off and ended the frame in the fifth. So now he'll bat here with nobody on and nobody out to lead off the top of the sixth inning. The 0-1 pitch is in the dirt. Nice pitch from Zabel, but Bachman didn't bite on it, and it's now 1-1. So I was both right and wrong in that last inning when I said it'd be better for him to come up in the sixth inning with nobody out than with Weaver with two outs. He did both. The 1-1 is at the letters. It is now 1-2. The big left-hander looked to retire the leadoff hitter here in the top of the sixth. The 1-2 pitch from Zabel. Swing and a miss on the off-speed, and Bachman goes down on strikes, and there's the leadoff man is retired to open up the top of the sixth. And here is Dylan Ritchie, the designated hitter. As Ritchie is 1 for 2 so far. First pitch to him is taken for strike one. Ritchie grounded out to the second baseman to lead off the second. Base hit and was stranded at third back in the fourth. The 0-1 is outside now, 1-1. Coach Sean Lewis sent a message and we talked about it, and as he joined me in the first game, talked about that situational hitting, and Post State got that in that bottom of the fifth. The 1-1 just misses, now 2-1. And in those 6 hits, they've got 4 runs. That's what you like to see, those runs and hits be as close to each other as possible. 2-1 pitch. That one's fouled back to the screen, and it's now 2-2. Boy, a 2-0 Sunday here. Give you a lot of confidence going into this coming week with 6 games in 3 days. Zabel looks in from the windup. He'll deliver the 2-2 pitch to the designated hitter, Ritchie. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts from Gray Zabel. And there's 2 down here in the top of the 6th inning. That'll bring in Jake Goebel. Goebel is 0 for 1. He reached on an error back in the second, had a sac fly RBI. That made it a 2-1 game at the time in the top of the fourth. There's a fly ball out towards shallow right field, and Andrew Coverdale will make the catch. And it's a 1-2-3 inning from Gray Zabel. So we've played 5.5. Post State will have a chance to close out in the 7th, but they have a chance to add insurance runs here in the bottom of the 6th as they lead 4-2 over the Hardhats. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Lincoln Keenolds will be the first man to bat here in the bottom of the 6th inning as he is taking over for A.J. Gaden. The other change coming from the Post 22 Hardhats says Dylan Ritchie, the DH, will now move into the field, and he'll move to the mound and take over for Branson Keel, who went 5 innings, gave up those 4 runs, as it is going to be a 4-2 lead, and that's where Ritchie would like to see it going to the top of the 7th, but Lincoln Keenolds, Jack Van Camp, and Bennett Dean would like to see a couple more runs up on the board for Gray Zabel to go in the 7th inning. As Richie finishes his warm-up tosses,
New pitcher
Lincoln
for
Kenols
the Hardhats,
will come to the plate for the
28
first time here in game number 2.
Leading off the Post State,
8 guys came to the plate in that bottom of the 5th inning for Post State. 2 runs scored. They left the bases loaded, but those 2 big runs are reason why Gray Zabel has a chance to pick up the win in the top of the 7th. Barring Post State doesn't score 8 runs to end it here in the bottom of the 6th. First pitch, Kenols will swing and foul it back to the fence, and it's 0-1. Kenols looking for that first hit. The soon-to-be sophomore playing his first season with the Senior Legion. The 0-1. That one's chopped at the plate. Back to the shortstop, Hartford at second base. The throw to first is in time. And the leadoff man, Kenols, is retired here in the bottom of the 6th, and they'll bring in Jack Van Camp. Van Camp's 0 for 2. He struck out swinging and flew out to left fielder in his 2 at-bats. Looking for his first hit here of the ball game. Van Camp will look at ball 1. That one was high and away to the right fielder. 4 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. 4 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for Post State. 2 runs, 1 hit, and 1 error for Post 22. The 1-0 pitch is swing and a miss, and it's now 1-1. Here comes the 1-1, swing and a miss, now 1-2. Have action down the right field bullpen for Post State. Richie will deliver the 1-2. And Van Camp swings and misses. He goes down on strikes, and that's 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 6th. And here's Bennett Dean. Dean is 0 for 2. He flew out popped out to the shortstop and struck out looking. And his 2 at-bats. A big 2-out rally from Post State in the bottom of the 5th inning. First 2 guys in Van Camp and Dean went down. And then Hinkle drew a 2-out walk. And then 3 straight hits made it 4-2. Dean swings and misses the first pitch. Richie comes set. Here's the 0-1. That one misses low, and it's now 1-1. For the Hardhats, it will be Peyton Tipton, Jed Jansen, and Hunter Tillery, needing at least 2 runs to keep the ball game alive in the top of the 7th. We'll see if there's any substitutions or pinch hitters that come in for the game for number 6, 7, and 8 in the order. The 1-1, there's a fly ball out towards right field. Weaver will move to his right. He'll camp underneath it and makes the catch, and it's a 1-2-3 inning here in the bottom of the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. Post State 3 outs away from finishing off the Sunday at 2-0. We'll see if they can do it. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. It is 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Post 22 Hardhats. Gray Zabel is on the mound looking for a complete game victory. Peyton Tipton, Jed Jansen, and Hunter Tillery. Gray Zabel has thrown 6 innings, allowing just those 2 runs in the 4th. First pitch, swing and a miss, 0-1. For the first time in 2 seasons that Post State will get a win over Post 22 if they can finish out this one. against the Hardhats. 0-1 pitch is missed and is now 1-1. Getting a lot of dirty looks over here talking about jinxing it. And hey, I'm just the broadcaster. I still got to do my job over here. 1-1 pitch and it's now 2-1 to Peyton Tipton. I will make my way quickly out of here if this doesn't happen. Avoid any extracurricular activity in the press box. 2-1 pitches upstairs, now 3-1. On deck is Jed Jansen. Tipton is 1 for 2 in, RBI single that tied the game up at 2 back in the top of the 4th. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, 3-2. Jensen's 0 for 2. Tillery is 0 for 1. The next two guys in the batting order. And then Klosterman, who's the catcher, the number 9 hitter, he'd be due up 4th this inning. He's 0 for 2 as well. Here comes the 3-2 pitch from Zabel to Tipton. Upstairs in a leadoff walk.
Tipton with the walk. Brings up center fielder Jed Jensen.
That's going to be the 5th walk issued by Zabel here in the ball game. The 3rd time that the leadoff man has gotten on base with a walk. Jed Jansen, the center fielder here in game number 2. 0 for 2 so far. First pitch on the inside edge and taken for strike 1. Jensen didn't look like he liked that call. But it's 0-1 nonetheless. Zabel comes set, the 0-1 pitch in the dirt. Good block by Henkel, and it's 1-1. Two runs on 1 hit so far for post 22. 4 runs on 6 hits for post 8. Pickoff attempt and diving back in safely is Tipton. And the last thing post 22 would want is Tipton not to get back to first or try and steal and get picked off, just like Blake Weaver did to end the top of the 5th. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Way behind it was Jensen. And it's now 1-2. Maybe think Garrett Stout would be the next guy if Zabel's unable to finish this game. Stout might try and come in to close it out. Lusk closed out game number 1 against Runner in the 3-1 win. Here's the 1-2 from Zabel. Instead, time is called, and everybody will get reset. Leaning away from first is Tipton. The center fielder, Jensen, waits on the 1-2 pitch from Gray Zabel. There's a fly ball out towards left field. Iverson going over to it. He's not going to get it. Iverson will cut it off on the hop, and it's going to be a long single for Jensen. And Iverson, that could have been very dangerous for post 8, but Iverson had a great play to cut it off before it got to the warning track. And it's just a single for Jensen. And here comes Hunter Tillery, but first Coach White will come out to the mound, and we'll see if we have a pitching change or not. And we'll see if post 8 can close the door. Coach White will take Zabel out, and we'll tell you the pitching change here after this minute break. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. So Garrett Stout will come into the game to pitch. Actually, he was in the game, but he will step to the mound to try and close this one out for Poe State. The defensive changes, everybody will stay in the ball game. Nobody will come out as actually Zabel will move into the batting order as he'll go in for Bennett Dean, but he is going to remain in the ball game at first base. At second, Coverdale will stay at second base. Lincoln Keenels will move from from third to short, and Andy Gordon will move from first to third base. So Stout will talk over with Hinkle on what sign they're going to go with a runner on second base. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Jet Jansen, who got a base hit to make it first and second, trainer came over, work out possibly a cramp on his left leg. But he remains in the game as he's the potential tying run. Here is Hunter Tillery, who's 0 for 1. He walked and struck out in the fourth inning. Stout's first inning of work. First pitch, tried to bunt it. He pulled it back in time. Almost looked like he didn't pull it back in time, but the umpire did not say he went or offered at it, and it's now 1-0. Stout did not throw much in the summer season and is now 2-0. Nursing an arm injury. He threw plenty in the spring season in 2019, but did not throw much at all in the summer. And really from the Dakota Classic on, so it's almost been a year since he's been on the mound. There's a bunt attempt, and it's going to go all the way back to the shortstop. Nobody's going to get it, and it's an infield single. As Gordon, it would split Gordon and Stout, and Tillery is on base with the bases loaded and nobody out. And that'll bring in Dalton Klosterman. Actually, we're going to have a pinch hitter. It's going to be Isaac Arnold that will hit. So you would think that Thomas McGuire will come to catch if they go to the bottom of the seventh, but Arnold looking to tie the game up with that tying run at second. First pitch, that one will be stopped by Hinkle in the dirt, and it's 1-0. Arnold went 0 for 4 in game number 1, and then went 0 for 2 in game number 2 on Friday. The 1-0 is right down the middle, now 1-1 to the pinch hitter, Isaac Arnold. The big, tall left-hander against the right-handed pitching, Garrett Stout. The 1-1, just above the letters, now 2-1. Bases are loaded here with nobody out in the top of the seventh. A walk and back-to-back singles. And a bunt single from Tillery has loaded the bases. Here's a 2-1 pitch. That one will go off the umpire, and that will help keep that runner at third base, but it's now 3-1. That went off of his hand. Otherwise, it was going to go to the backstop and probably would have made it 4-3. The Hardhats had one hit through 6 innings. They've got back-to-back hits here in the top of the seventh. Stout will come set. Here's a 3-1. He walks in 1 run, and it's now 4-3.
Arnold with an RBI walk. Brings back to the top of the order, shortstop.
And here's Colton Hartford as Zabel will come and talk with Stout on the mound. Hartford is 0 for 3. He flew out to right field, grounded out to the second baseman and shortstop in his 3 at-bats. The corners should be in to try and keep this a 4-3 game. Almost want to be in all the way around. First pitch to Hartford is high and outside, and it's 1-0. Because a double play doesn't win the ball game, but it would tie the ball game up if it goes up the middle. So you want to try and at least get that run out at home on the force out. Here's a 1-0 pitch. One's outside 2-0, but Keenels and Coverdale are back in the middle, and Zabel's playing behind the runner at first and Arnold. Gordon's the only one that's playing in at third base, his usual spot when he's over at third. Here's a 2-0 pitch. There's a ground ball up the middle. Keenels will flip to second for 1. Over to first is in time. It's a double play. but the game is tied at 4. We will at least see the bottom of the 7th inning. A 6-4-3 double play. No RBI is credited to Hartford on that double play. With that big run is over at third base as Blake Weaver, who has drawn 2 walks, comes to the plate. The first pitch from Stout from the windup is outside for ball 1. Weaver grounded out to the shortstop back in the first inning. He drew a walk, came around to score in the 4th. He got picked off in the 5th to end the 5th inning. The 1-0 is on the outside corner, now 1-1. In the bottom of the 7th for Post State, it'll be 9-1-2. Hinkle, Coverdale, and Stout. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Outside edge, now 1-2. To the number 2 hitter, Blake Weaver. Stout peers in for the sign from the windup. The 1-2 pitch. Upstairs, 2-2. Ryan Bachman on deck. He's 0 for 2. Also walked and came around to score. 3 of the 5 walks that Zabel allowed in the game came around to score. The 2-2. Outside, 3-2. Don't necessarily have to give in, but again, you'd rather see Bachman left out in the on-deck circle and a chance for Post State to win the ball game in the bottom of the 7th and have him come up with runners in the corners. Hinkle went to go talk with Stout, and we'll head back to behind home plate. The 6th man to come to the plate here in the top of the 7th. 2 runs have come across to score, and it's a 4-4 game. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Upstairs, another walk, and Weaver is on at first, and that'll bring in Ryan Bachman. Bachman 0 for 2. He struck out swinging, grounded out to the shortstop in his first at-bat. The third baseman here in game number 2 had that 2 RBI single from Andy Gordon go right past him, which gave Post State a 2-run lead in the bottom of the 5th inning. Now it's 4-4, top of the 7th with 2 outs. First pitch in the dirt and a good block there by Hinkle. Keep everybody where they're at. Force out at second or first. Here with 2 down in the top of the 7th. Stout from the stretch. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Upstairs, 2-0. Dylan Ritchie, the pitcher. Dylan Ritchie, the pitcher, is on deck. It was 1 for 3. Here's a 2-0. That one misses upstairs, and now 3-0. And you wonder who would be the next man to throw for Post State, and if Coach White would give Stout another hitter if he walks Bachman in 4 pitches. 3-0 is over for strike 1. That was at the letters, and now a good hitter's count here for Bachman. And Stout trying to work out of this jam. Weaver's on at first, Tillery at third. He's the go-ahead run. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That one's ball 4 in the dirt. And Bachman is on. The bases are now loaded. And here comes Peyton Zabel out to talk with Stout. And with Dylan Ritchie up to the plate, he is the man that is on the mound for the Hardhats, looking to give his team the lead here in the top of the 7th. Nowhere to put him. So we'll either head to the bottom of the 7th, still tied, or the inning will continue and Post 22 will have the lead. I'd like for that former to happen. Again, for Post State, in the bottom of the 7th, it will be Cade Hinkle, Coverdale, and Stout. If anybody gets on base, Andy Gordon trying to potentially win it with 1 run and hopefully not try and tie the ball game up. So Stout will work from the windup as Zabel returns to the dugout. Here is the first pitch to Richie. At the letters for strike one. And that's a big first pitch strike there from Stout. Stout will get the sign. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Way upstairs now, 1-1. And again, for Stout, this is the first time he's pitched in over a year with live pitching. As the 1-1 pitch. As a game of chess, as then Richie will call time. Stout was taking his time to start his delivery. So now here is the 1-1 pitch. Instead, Stout now will step off. And everybody will reset again. And now here comes the 1-1 pitch from Stout. Curveball that's just a bit upstairs, and it's now 2-1. Stout can't believe it. And that's a tough one to lay off of and tough one to not get the call. Looked like the same pitch as strike one, the 2-1. Now outside 3-1, and Stout has to come in the zone here. Otherwise, he'll walk in the go-ahead run here in the top of the seventh. Here's a 3-1 pitch from Stout. That one just misses, and it's a walk, and that will bring in the go-ahead run. And it's now a 5-4 lead here for Post 22 in the top of the seventh inning. That's the fifth walk issued in the top of the seventh. And here is Jake Goebel, the ninth man, to come to the plate. Upstairs for ball one. Goebel is 0 for 2. Reached on an air, also popped out to the second baseman. Had a sacrifice fly to tie the game up at 2-2. There's a ground ball to the right side. Zabel will fall on top of it. He'll get to the bag himself, and that will retire the side. 3 runs score, though, in the top of the seventh, which has given Post 22 a 5-4 lead going to the bottom of the seventh inning. On 3 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. Excuse me, 3 men left on base. We head to the bottom of the seventh. Post 8 needs at least 1 run to keep things moving. You're listening to Post 8 Base on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. At least 1 run to keep the ball game alive. They trail 5-4 after 3 runs score in the top of the seventh inning. 5 walks in the top of the seventh. Only 2 hits, and it was 3 runs to score. So it will be Dylan Ritchie to try and close things out, as he is now the pitcher, would be the pitcher of record. Branson Keel is off the hook. And for Post 8, with Hinkle, Coverdale, and Stout, 3 guys you'd like to see to allow Andy Gordon to potentially maybe tie the game up or give the Post 8 the win if a couple of guys can get on base here in the bottom of the seventh. First pitch from Ritchie to Hinkle. Misses low for ball 1. Hinkle struck out and back in the bottom of the third. He drew a walk and came around to score as part of that 2 RBI single from Gordon in the 5th inning. He waits on the 1-0 pitch from Ritchie. That one's fouled off the mitt of the catcher, Thomas McGuire, who is in the game now, and it's now 1-1. After Isaac Arnold came in to pinch hit, McGuire takes over behind the plate. 1-1 pitch. Upstairs, 2-1. 5 runs, 3 hits for post 22. 4 runs, 6 hits for post 8. Just 1 error in the ball game so far, and that was from post 8. 2-1 upstairs, now 3-1. And any way you possibly can, and Coach White signaling how small that strike zone needs to be for Hinkle. Anything that he likes in that spot he can swing at, but be choosy up there. Here's the 3-1. That one is right at the letters, now 3-2. The top of the letters. And the count is full. The leadoff hitter, Cade Hinkle. Richie works from the stretch here with nobody on base. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Hinkle will ground it back off the glove of Richie, and Hinkle will make his way to first base with a leadoff single. And the tying run is on first, and we'll see now what Coach White wants to do with the top of the order up. And we're here at the interesting spot where if you get Coverdale to drop the bunt down, it'll move Hinkle over to second. It's a smart play to make, but Coverdale is one of your hottest hitters right now. He's 2 for 3 with a triple and a single. So do you want him to bunt, or do you want him trying to get a base hit and take the risk of potentially grounding into a double play? First pitch is taken for strike 1 as Coverdale is not showing bunt. Coverdale led off the bottom of the first with a triple. He singled back in the 5th inning. Both times he came around to score. He also grounded out of the shortstop in the 3rd. 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled out of play. Now 0-2, and Coverdale will not be bunting. And we'll see if maybe Hinkle goes in motion. Obviously, you don't want to get him thrown out without a ball hitting the play. On deck is Garrett Stout. Then it'll be Andy Gordon. Post 8 needs 1 run here in the bottom of the 7th to at least tie the ball game up. The 0-2 pitch upstairs, now 1-2. And a good job by Coverdale to lay off. Two runs in the 1st, 2 runs in the 5th for post 8, 2 runs in the 4th, and 3 in the 7th for post 22. Here's the 1-2 to Andrew Coverdale. There's a ground ball back up the middle. That was a diving stop by the shortstop. He steps on second for 1. And Coverdale will reach on the fielder's choice. But a great play by Colton Hartford to get the lead runner out at second. That was nearly into center field for a base hit, and potentially could have got Hinkle over to third base. But instead, now here's Garrett Stout, who can make amends here in the bottom of the 7th with his bat. He tripled home Coverdale back in the 1st inning. First pitch is looked at for strike 1 to Garrett Stout. Another triple would be great to see right here from Stout. Coverdale leads away from first. And here's the 0-1 pitch. Instead of check over at first and diving back in safely as Coverdale. 4:40 on Tuesday will be the pregame show. 5 o'clock first pitch, as the other Rapid City team, post 320 Stars, will be in town. 0-1 pitch. Stout lines it into right field for a base hit. That one's in the gap. Coverdale around second. He's going to get to third base. The right fielder Weaver will cut it off. Here comes Coverdale. He's going to try and score. He is going to get in safely, and the post 8 has tied the game up in the bottom of the 7th with an RBI double from Garrett Stout, and he is in scoring position to try and win this ball game with Andy Gordon with 2 RBIs already in the game coming to the plates. So it's not the RBI triple that had previously said, but an RBI double will get it. And Stout is now 3/4 of the way with the cycle, a home run away from completing the cycle. In all fairness to Stout, don't want to give him the opportunity to get a home run for the cycle. Love for Andy Gordon to get a base hit and to bring in Stout to win this ball game here in the bottom of the 7th. We're tied up at 5. The winning run is on at second, as Stout just tied the ball game up with that RBI double. First pitch to Gordon. There's a ground ball on the left side. Stout's going to get to third. Hartford will play it off the hop, and the throw to first is in time, so it'll come to River Iverson here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th and a runner on third base, and that's Garrett Stout. So here comes Iverson with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Open first and second base. Here's the first pitch to Iverson. Swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Matt Lusk is on deck. Iverson is 1 for 2. The ground out to the shortstop in the first inning. Got a base hit in the 4th and walked also in the 5th. Was stranded on first base in each of those 2 times he reached base. The 0-1 is upstairs now 1-1. That's all he needs to do is get to first base with a base hit to win this ball game for Post State. 8 hits in the ball game for the Eights. Here's the 1-1 to Iverson. That one is looked at for strike 2 on the inside corner. And Iverson's got to battle up. Down 1-2 in the count. At the very least, at least push it to Matt Lusk here in the bottom of the 7th. If you don't win the ball game, at least get on first base. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one misses, and now 2-2. 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for Post State. 5 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for Post 22. Ritchie delivers the 2-2 pitch. Chopper over to the third baseman. Bachman will field the throw to first. Is it going to be in time? It's not! And Post State wins it 6-5 and a walk-off infield single from River Iverson. And Post State has won it, and they mug Iverson out in right field. And Post State has got themselves back to 503-3. Iverson wins it 6-5 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. What a win for Post State. What a 2-0 weekend for the Eights. A 2-0 Sunday for the Eights. Back in 2 minutes to wrap this one up. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Welcome you to the post-game show. It is a final score of 6-5. Post State wins it over the Post 22 Hardhats on a walk-off infield single from River Iverson to give Post State a 2-0 Sunday and a now 3-3 record on the season as Garrett Stout will pick up the win. Dylan Ritchie will take the loss in this ball game. As Post State, they finished with 6 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error. They left 4 men on base as they had 5 runs, did Post 22, with 2 hits and no errors. They left 6 men on base, 2 hits and scored 5 runs. And again, we're going to talk with I'm going to talk with Coach Brian White here. You can listen to it tomorrow morning, but I bet you he's going to talk about the amount of walks still in this game that allowed post 22 the Hardhats to stay in this game, because that was a one that, when you look at the box score again, you're kind of shaking your head a little bit and wondering how this score was the way it was, because post 22 did not get the hits that they wanted. But the walks allowed them to come in, and there's a big lightning strike behind center field. So we're glad to have this one through, because that one would have stopped play for a little bit here in the bottom of the 7th. So the Post State wins it 6-5. They win the first game 3-1. A 2-0 Sunday afternoon. Their record's back to 3-3 at 500, and they will welcome in 6 games this coming week: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with a doubleheader. Rapid City Post 3:20 on Tuesday, Aberdeen on Wednesday, and Sioux Falls West on Thursday. All 6 games will be heard right here on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com, as well as checking out our YouTube channel at KCCR Sports. That will wrap things up from Hyde Stadium. Back on the air around 4:40, as it will be Post 8 taking on Rapid City Post 3:20 on Tuesday. First pitch is at 5 o'clock. Thanks to Dorian back at the station. I'm John Winkler. 6-5 win on a walk-off by River Iverson, as you've been listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com, as we say goodnight from Hyde Stadium.